friends, welcome back. I'm Yohan Kunapli. Now today we will learn verbs. Now verbs are words that show an action, a state of being or possession. Please go through these sentences. Virat plays cricket. I have a car. He will come. She guessed the answer. I feel sad. They acted out the story on the stage. Now on the first sentence, Virat plays cricket. Virat is the subject, plays is the verb and cricket is the object. Here Virat is doing something physically and we can see it. So it's the physical action verb. Then I have a car. Here there is no action being done. So here have it shows possession. So it's a stative verb. Then he will come. Here will come is the main verb and will is the helping verb. Then she guessed the answer. So here guessed is a mental action verb because we cannot see the action that is ongoing on the brain. Then I feel sad. Here feel is the linking verb because it links the subject with another word in the sentence which is sad. Then they acted out the story on the stage. Here acted and out together joined is known as a phrasal verb. Now verbs we can divide onto action verbs, then stative verbs, helping verbs, linking verb, transitive and intransitive verb, finite and non-finite, phrasal verbs and regular and irregular verbs. Start with action verbs. These are also known as dynamic verbs. An action verb explains what the subject of a sentence is doing or has done. It can be physical or mental. Now, physical movement, it's the movement that can be seen. For example, walking, running, eating, writing, like that. Then, Mushaib plays football. Here, Mushaib is doing something physically and we can see it. Now, we will move on to mental action verbs. Mental action verbs. Here there is ongoing activity in the brain and movement cannot be seen. Now, for example, John is thinking about a book. Peter guessed the right number. In these sentences, the movement cannot be seen, but still ongoing activity is there in the brain. Now, suppose if the sentence is John thinks she is a good teacher. In this sentence, thinks is not a mental action verb because there is no action that is being done. So it's a stative verb. And in this sentence, John is thinking about a book. Thinking is a mental action verb. Now we'll move on to stative verbs. Stative verbs are the verbs that express a state of being or state rather than an action. They are usually related to thoughts, emotions, relationships, sense, state of beings, and measurements. And these verbs are not used in the progressive tenses. That means they are not used in the ing tenses. Now, for example, she likes tea. Here, likes is the verb, and here it is not an action verb because there is no action performed. So, it's a stative verb. Then, stative verbs can be possession, sense, emotion, mental state, and others like cost, measure, weigh, etc. Now, for example, I have a car. Here, have is a stative verb and it shows possession. Then, that cake looked delicious. Here, looks, it's a sense. Then, I think that's a great idea. Here, think is an opinion. Then the suitcase weighs 20 pounds. Here weighs is a stative verbs. Here here someone is not weighing the suitcase. So it's a stative verbs. Suppose if the sentence is the butcher is weighing the meat on the scale. Here weighing is an action verb. Now stative verbs are verbs that are static or unchanged throughout their entire duration. Whereas action verbs, they have a definite end, beginning and an end. Now, some verbs, they can be both stative as well as action or dynamic verbs. For example, Here it has look. Now for example, you look fantastic in this dress. Here it's just an opinion. Then she is looking at her reflection in the mirror. Here looking is an action verb because she is doing something physically. So look can both be a stative as well as dynamic verbs. Then think. I think that Mr. Peter is a good teacher. Then here think is an opinion, so it's a stative verb. Then Louis thought about the math problem. Here thought is a dynamic verb. Then smell, weigh. Now these are some examples about the verbs that can be both stative as well as dynamic. Now we'll move on to helping verbs. They are also known as auxiliary verbs. Now these helping verbs, they help the main verb. These helping verbs, they stand in front of the main verb. They help other verbs to form different tenses and moods. Now for example, Hannah can ride bicycle. Here can is the helping verb. Now these helping verbs or auxiliaries we can divide into primary and modals. Now primary, there are three categories: be form, do form and have form. And be form like am, is, are, was, were. Then do form like does, do, did. Then have form has, have, had. Then with modals like shall, will, should, would, may, might, can, could, must, ought to, need, dare and used to. Then now these be, do, have, we can use them in different tenses like past, present and future. Now be like past, it can be was and were. Then present like is, are and am. Future will be will be. We use modal helping verbs to modify the meaning of the main verb in some way. A modal helping verb expresses necessity or possibility and changes the main verb in that sense. Now, these modal auxiliary verbs have two main characteristics. They are never used alone. A principal verb is either present or implied. For example, he will come. Here will is the modal verb and come is the main verb. Then she can go. Here go is the main verb and can is the modal verb. You should wait. Here wait is the main verb and should is the modal verb. And these modal auxiliaries, they do not change their form whatever be the number and person of the subject. Usually verbs change their forms according to the subject. Now for example, I can ride, she can ride and they can ride. Here can is the modal and same with all the subject. Now need, dare, used to are known as semi-modal verbs. Now these verbs, they are known as semi-modal verbs because they are partially like modal verbs and partially like main verb. You can use these modals in different situations like ability, possibility or possibility, like they can control their own budgets. Then inability or impossibility, we can't fix it. Then asking for permission like can I smoke here? Then request like can you help me? Now like this we can use all the modal verbs. Now we'll move on to linking verbs. Linking verb is a verb that connects the subject to another word in a sentence. The connecting words can be either a predicate noun, a pronoun or an adjective. The linking verb does not express an action but a state of being or condition. Some common linking verbs are appear, become, feel, grow, sound, seem, look, taste and be form of the verb. Now, most of the linking verbs are stative verbs. The soup tastes good. Here, it's not a physical or mental action verb. Here, it can be both a linking as well as a stative verb. Then, I know Julie. Here, it's not a physical or action verb. Here it's a stative verb. Now let's check whether it's a linking verb or not. Now to check whether a verb is a linking verb or not, first we must take out the verb and put an equal sign there. Then check if it makes sense. For example, the story is interesting. Take out the verb is and put an equal sign there. Story equals interesting. It makes sense. So is a linking verb. Then consider these two sentences. I feel sad. I feel the fabric. The second sentence, I feel the fabric. Here the subject is doing something physically. So it's not a linking verb. Here it's an action verb. Now let's check to confirm it. If we put remove feel and put equal sign, I equals the fabric. Well, it's not making sense. So it's not a linking verb. Then I feel sad. Here I equals sad. It makes sense. So here it's a linking verb. Then the second method is take out the verb and put in a form of to be. For example, I feel sad, remove feel and put am. So it makes sense. I am sad. It makes sense. Then if we put am here in I feel the fabric, it does not make sense because it shows I am the fabric. It does not make sense. Now you may think, why are we differentiating these linking verb, action verb and stative verb? We are differentiating them because an action verb uses an adverb and a linking verb uses an adjective. For example, the apple pie smells. Now we must choose good or well. Now, as I told you, as an action verb use an adverb and linking verb use an adjective. First, let's check if the verb is a linking verb or not. Now if we remove the verb smells and put an equal sign there, the apple pie equals good or well. So it's a linking verb. So we must use the adjective good and well is the adverb. Then the musician sounded his trumpet loud or loudly. Here sounded his trumpet means here sounded is there is a physical action being done. So it's a action verb. Here we must use loudly, which is an adverb. Now, be form of these linking verbs can be both helping verbs. Now we move on to transitive and intransitive verb. Transitive verbs are the verbs that have objects, and intransitive verb is a verb that does not have an object. For example, Yazid kicked the ball. Here, Yazid kicked, if we remove the object ball, then it will just be Yazid kicked. So it does not make sense. So a transitive verb needs an object. If there is no object, the meaning of the transitive verb will be incomplete. Now, second sentence, they laughed loudly. Here there is no object. So laughed is an intransitive verb. Some objects can be direct and indirect. Now, for example, Sue passed and the ball. Here Sue is the subject, passed is the verb. Now here Sue passed and what? Sue passed and the ball. So ball is the direct object. Then and is the indirect object. In effect, the action moves from the subject, which is Sue, to the verb pass, then to the direct object ball, and finally to the indirect object, which is an. Now we'll move on to finite and non-finite verbs. These finite verbs, they change their forms when there is a change in a number or person of the subject. And finite verbs also have different forms in different tenses. And non-finite verbs, they do not change their form. For example, the students were asked to submit their assignments by Friday. Now here were asked, it's the finite verb. Now here it was were asked because it's plural form students. Now if it's student, it will become was. So the finite verb changes according to person. Then she worked hard to pass the test. Here worked hard is the finite verb and pass is the non-finite verb. Here if she will work or if she works hard, the past does not change. Now we'll move on to phrasal verb. A phrasal verb is combination of a verb plus a preposition or a verb plus adverb, when they are joined together, they have a different meaning. For example, get plus up, get up, go plus through, go through, write plus down, write down, take plus after, take after. Now, bring plus up is equal to bring up. It means raise children. It isn't easy to bring up children nowadays. Now, this is our last category, which is regular and irregular verbs. Now, regular verbs, they form their different tenses according to an established pattern. And irregular verbs, they do not follow the normal rules. Now, for example, if the base form is play, simple past becomes played and past participle also played. So, here play is a regular verb. Then copy, remove y and add ied, copied, copied. So in panic, we add KED. Now, irregular verbs, they form their past and past participle forms in different ways. Now, verbs in which all the forms are same. Put, put. There is no difference. Then verbs in which 2 of the 3 forms are same. Sit, sat. And some verbs, all 3 forms are different. Drink, drank and drunk. Now see here the verb. Base form is see, saw, seen. Then give, gave, given, and run, ran, run. Friends, this is what I know about verbs. If you like the video, press the like button, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to press the bell button. Thank you.